Bob.
Welcome to the Sports Show. Mike Max, Patrick Royce, Lou Nanny, and the one and only Sid Hartman. Sydney, how are you tonight?
Okay, sir.
No, you're not okay, and I'll tell you why you're not okay.
Why?
The Minnesota Wild are down 2-0, and that doesn't sit well with you.
Well, I don't want to say every team win, but I think they're in trouble. I mean, first of all, goaltending, he'll tell you.
You said it before the series. I got to give you credit. You said goaltending would be important.
They got the best goaltender in hockey. They got much better talent than the Wild have, and they dominated them. And I wouldn't be surprised if they win 4 straight.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Patrick?
I'd be surprised if they win 4 straight, and I don't think they have much better talent, but they certainly have an 18-year-old kid that I'd like to have on my roster, Nathan MacKinnon, that's for sure. What do you think of that kid?
I agree with you. First of all, I think the Wild will win tomorrow night, and I think they very possibly could win both games here. I don't think they're out of it yet. I think the games were extremely competitive. The Wild could have won either or both games, and Colorado's goaltender played a little better, but it wasn't just goaltending. We got to find a way to score goals. We got to be a little better than we were on the specialty teams, but we're not out of it yet. The Wild aren't out of it yet. They should be fun. And what he said about Nate MacKinnon, you know, there was a lot of consternation when he went first because Seth Jones, the defenseman, was supposed to go
Popeye's
first.
kid.
Yeah, and he went fourth. And people don't talk about it, but the guy that went second, Barkov, might be the best until what you see what McKinnon's doing now. Barkov went to Florida.
Blackhawk was drafting second?
No, Barkov, this kid that went to Florida. But McKinnon he's special. He's spectacular.
You gotta slow him down.
He's from Nova Scotia. He
s-
played for Bobby Smith's junior team last year.
You got to slow him down in the neutral zone. They're coming into the zone at full speed, aren't they? You need Jock back trapping them.
Yeah, there's
Either
the
that or
trap.
you need a lasso.
Yeah,
you need a
right.
rope. Yeah.
But that line obviously is dominating.
That line is
Colorado. And Minnesota
terrific.
hasn't had an answer in terms of one line. I mean,
Right.
Charlie Coyle's been their best offensive weapon.
Well, that line's played very well, but the forwards of Minnesota, the top 2 lines, have played hard. They've created a lot of chances. You got to find a way to score goals, but it's not over yet. I think we're seeing the things we wanted to see. The biggest surprise right now is overall Colorado's defense is playing pretty solid, it's led by Eric Johnson. Johnson's been terrific.
Yeah, he has been.
One of the great hustle plays I've ever seen in my
You'll
life.
never see it. There was the series, right?
It would have been real easy to just not chase that puck.
Well, I want to know once again. I want to know. I wish they would have shown him before that. You have to remember when the puck's getting iced. If it was going to be icing, the face-off comes there. So the guy chasing the puck usually looks like he's going hard, but he's not going as hard as he wants because he wants it, to be icing. But he probably started off like that, then saw it was going to go in the net, and then he busted like crazy to get there. Yeah.
Why did St. Louis trade him?
He wasn't playing as well as he's playing now in St. Louis, and
They
St.
hate
Louis
him in St. Louis.
and
They
St.
think he
Louis
was a big bust.
And St. Louis got a good defenseman back for him, plus a forward. They got 2 good players in the deal.
I had a long talk with him the other night, though. He admits it, that he didn't play as well as that he carried the burden of being the number 1 overall pick, and then he was injured a lot.
Yeah, but he's played since he's gone to Colorado. He's got progressively better and better, and right now he's the top defenseman. He's really doing well.
Sydney, you talked about it earlier. Patrick Roy, the coach for Colorado. You mentioned him when you were talking about
He was a great goaltender. He played for Montreal.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, but I want to tap into Louis here.
I'll never forget. I think what years was he playing? Was he playing?
The last shot he ever faced was Andrew Burnett.
Andrew Burnett when the Wild beat him
10
out.
years ago.
2003, wasn't it?
Yeah, 10, 11 years,
I was going to tell a story about when they got hockey in '67. 6 teams. Scotty Bowman was coaching St. Louis. Montreal, with Toe Blake as a coach, got beat by Montreal. So I go out to the Met Center, and I figure I'm going to watch those guys do something. For 1 hour straight, skate up and down without the puck, up and down for an hour. And the next night, they killed the North Stars.
Who did? Montreal?
Yeah,
Well, in '67, I don't remember them losing to us.
yeah.
Not in '67. They went through a stretch there when they only lost 8 games all year, which was unbelievable at that time. They did lose to us in the playoffs. We beat them twice in the playoffs.
Weren't you the first?
We were the first team that ever
from
first
the expansion
team
to beat a.
been
Was
established.
that a best of 5 then?
Are they-
Best of
No,
six?
best of 7.
Are they as good as past Montreal teams?
God,
The one now? No, not the one now. No, not the one that past Montreal team, and at that time they had like all-time teams.
They are all
tell you
Canada
what.
has going for them.
Yeah.
They're the only one of the 16
Yeah.
teams from
Oh,
Canada.
Isn't that something?
frustrating. They'd come in, and you want to interview those guys, and all they got is those French writers. And I'm trying to think of that famous guy from Montreal,
Red Fisher.
Red Fisher. I says, Red,
He's English.
why don't they learn English?
Yeah,
No.
well, he wants you
And
to
he
know.
said the
So
same
you're
thing to
standing
you.
there, and Coach Blake is
They
talking.
want you to learn French.
All right, when we come back, though, Louis, I want to ask you about what would go into selecting a guy like Patrick Waugh and thinking that he can coach. I don't know. I mean, he's obviously done well with this team. They talk about him just lifting the bail because they've had the big turnaround. We'll talk about that and much more straight ahead on the Sports Show.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing. And Cuisine Concepts. Franklin Street Bakery at 11th and Franklin in South Minneapolis, just down from Mall of America Field. And Taste of the NFL. Proud to be the premier Super Bowl party with a purpose to support hunger relief locally and nationally.
Quality. It's the result of shared values. The joy found in an honest day's work. Respect for true American craftsmanship and the need, not the want, to get things right. It's the result of remembering your roots, being forever humbled by how far you've traveled and forever hungry to push on further. Quality is a result. Quality is who we are. Cambria. Family owned, American made.
Now at your local Subway, the new Tuscan Chicken Florentine Melt, served with spinach Florentine spread on fresh toasted flatbread. Enjoy the primo flavor of herb-seasoned grilled chicken with new spinach Florentine spread, a creamy, garlicky blend of Parmesan cheese hand-mixed with fresh spinach. Enjoy it on any sub you love. But don't wait. Freshly mixed spinach Florentine spread and the Tuscan Chicken Florentine Melt are at a Subway near you for a limited time only. Subway, eat fresh.
Blasting away tough calcium, lime, and rust buildup doesn't have to mean harsh fumes. CLR makes cleaning cleaner. It's safe enough to carry the EPA Designed for the Environment label, yet it has a powerful cleaning formula that you can trust to dissolve tough calcium and lime deposits and surface rust stains quickly and easily. Watch as CLR gets rid of dingy rust from stain tubs so they shine like new. No rubbing, no scrubbing. Don't replace that clogged shower head. CLR quickly dissolves away that crusty white buildup so water flows freely for better, cleaner showers. Just a swish of safe, effective CLR in your coffee pot and watch nasty hard water stains disappear. Your pot sparkles and coffee even tastes better. Pour a half cup of fast-acting, powerful CLR in your dishwasher or washing machine to help them clean better and run smoother. For tough calcium and lime deposits and rust stains, reach for safe, effective CLR. We make cleaning cleaner.
Tackle your toughest jobs with the power of CLR. Available at these fine stores. Or log on to CLRbrands.com to learn more.
Audi A4 drivers have spoken. And they rank the A4 highest in total quality index in its class. Experience the new Audi A4 at your local dealer today.
Looking for a nice, big, juicy rack of ribs?
Fabulous chops, huge steaks, and the Buddy Bowl? Then J.D. Hoyt's is the place for you. Hoyt's opened in 1983, and Mike Andrews and his partner John White have kept this Minnesota tradition at the top of the food chain. Managing owner Pat Montague gives us a tour.
At J.D. Hoyt's, enjoy a relaxed atmosphere, great food, friendly service, private dining room, second-to-none happy hour, just blocks from the new ballpark.
Located at 394 in North Washington. Locally owned, nationally known. Hoyt's.
And you might see Sid Hartman there. J.D. Hoyt's, before he goes to a Twins game, that's where he'll pop in or on the way out, taking it to go. Great place to dine anytime you're in downtown Minneapolis. Welcome back to the Sports Center. So, Louis, I was going to say, is Patrick Waugh, it seems like this is kind of a leap. I know he was coaching, but to make him the head coach of an NHL team obviously has worked out well. What did they see in him? What do you see in him?
Well, when he was done playing, he went back and he bought Quebec junior team. And he was the owner, general manager, and a coach. And he did a fabulous job. And he won a junior championship. And ever since he's been there, he's been extremely successful. And they like the way his teams were playing, how they were playing. They like his competitiveness. They like his fire. And he's, I have to tell you, he's surprised me how good a job he's done. Patrick Waugh. He's done a hell of a job. I'm really impressed by what he's done.
Draw big there?
First,
they have the longest streak of sellouts, I think, right?
The first night, he goes and tries to attack the other coach.
Bruce Boudreau.
And you thought that the guy was such a hothead that he'd never make it, and he really didn't have any other incidents the rest of the year. And I talked to Johnson, too, the other day, and they love the guy. They love the guy because he'll go to war for him, but he's not one of those old chew your rear out about nothing.
I see they create great confidence, I guess, to the young players.
Well, if you saw his interview last night,
I think they won 17 games last year. They won 17 games.
Here's what's unusual. Of all the hockey coaches, he is probably the most famous coach as a player. Do other teams have any former players?
Jacques quit.
Yeah, well, there are former players, but not like not.
Most don't want to go to coaching.
Not like Patrick.
The most famous players don't want to coach, right?
And they, for some reason, they don't seem to work out as good a coaches as the other guys. Maybe because the game came so easy to them that they never really studied part of it or never were really intrigued by it. But Jock was a great player and he was a great coach.
Do you think the Wild coach is in danger if he gets beat in the first playoff series?
I don't think so, but he could be. I don't make those decisions, but he's done a good job coming through a real tough time when it looked like they had their key players out and that they were going to really go into a tailspin.
I think it'd be nice if he got that third home game. I think the owner would like to see him at least get to 6.
It's not all about winning this series, but getting swept isn't going to cut it.
No.
Yeah.
Because, Louis...
You mind if I say one thing?
I'll ask you about this, and then we'll talk. The thing about the NHL is home gates are so important in the playoffs, probably the same way it was for the Lakers back in the day.
That's where you kept all the money. But Heatley has been a complete flop.
How many times can you go back to the Heatley thing?
If he helped him some, probably make a big difference. What happened to him?
He got older, like a lot of people do.
These guys are still playing.
Yeah, well, Heatley wasn't a great skater. He's been a great player in the league. He had some real good times with the Wild, but this year he slowed down somewhat, and he's had a tougher time scoring, and the game is so fast right now, they had to go a different direction.
Patrick, if the Timberwolves were playing this week in the playoffs and the Wild, what would create the most fervor, do you think, in this town?
Well, the Timberwolves would be an 8 seed, and we'd know they were going to lose. So, it
Wild, they're a 7 seed, but in hockey, you have a better chance.
Hockey, you got to, it's a coin flip. So, I think it'd be, there'd be interest in the Timberwolves, I guess, but I don't think it's a, you know what? The interesting thing about hockey is the regular season, kind of comes and goes, but when you get to the playoffs, it kind of becomes like Viking football games. It's some of yourself, because it's a hard game, and we want to be tougher than the other guys. You kind of the town's self-esteem gets wrapped up in it. When you lose one like you did Thursday night, everybody's mad Friday. It's like a Viking game.
NBA's no different. The playoff, they get in the playoff, and it's real basketball. During this season, they play.
It's real basketball, but the low seeds, the low seeds win, and the high seeds lose.
There's a bigger gap, you're saying, between the top and the bottom. Have you ever seen in the playoffs somebody pull a goaltender with 3 minutes left?
Oh yeah, it's been done, but not that often. But it happened again today.
It did.
Yeah.
Well, somebody probably watched it and said, "Hey, this."
Mike Babcock in the Detroit game. They're right around 3 minutes.
Well, St. Louis scored a goal at the time, 6 seconds left against Chicago yesterday.
Boston beat them, yeah.
Mariucci pulled a goaltender when we were 5 goals down in the second period when I was playing in Michigan State. So 3 minutes is nothing for me to see. I saw a lot worse, and we won the game. I got
to ask you something though. I got my theory that hockey referees have less to do with the outcome of the game than the other sports, because a plate umpire decides how a game's played, and then NBA officials decide how the game's played, and you know, the NFL, they could call a penalty on every play. But hockey coaches hate the referees more than they do in other sports. And Joel Quenneville gave us example A the other day when he grabbed his crotch and got fined $25,000. I love the way hockey coaches hate the referee, hate the officials. They hate them more than any other sport.
Hey,
Well, I think
I
that
saw
you're
this
right.
guy.
They should hate him.
I saw this guy on the way to the dressing room. He was on the way to the
Referee's
official.
room.
They don't even let you do that anymore. They'll fine you if you go
I
down
would have
and
been.
go
I
like,
would have been bankrupt today. And Sather and Sinden called me. Says you'd have been bankrupt today.
oh, they fine them. You can't go down and...
I used to probably be the worst.
I
Going down to
remember
the
in St. Louis
locker
one night,
room.
Bob
Yeah.
Brooks scores the hat trick. You still get beat. Pierre Paget throws a chair, and you're going right for the referee. I don't
used
know
to
what
visit
happened
him
in
a lot.
there.
It got so bad that once I went down, we won 6-5, and I went down, and the referee knocked on the door and linesman says, "Ron, it's Lunani." He said, "Well, let him in. They won. He won't be mad." I walked in. I said, "Look, I can't be a hypocrite. You're still brutal." And I walked out.
I'll tell you what, the guy who owned the Toronto team, what was that guy?
Harold Ballard.
Yeah, he set up in the press box, and we used to sit close to him, and every vulgar word in the dictionary, he would call those referees.
That must have made you uncomfortable.
And he had that King Clancy with him, and he sent King Clancy to the locker room between periods.
King Clancy used to be a referee, by the way. I'll tell you a story when
Take
we
a
come
break,
back.
come back, stay with us.
Attention, please get a pencil. Announcing a hearing breakthrough, a microchip that is so small it can fit on the head of a pen, worn hidden entirely in your ear canal, making you hear clear as a bell. And it's proudly made in the USA. Do you feel left out of conversations? Is it difficult to hear words in noisy environments? Do others say that you listen to the TV or radio too loudly? Do you feel like a bother to others due to your problems hearing? If you answered yes, you may qualify for this new chip in the ear. Only 50 participants are needed to try this microchip, so get a pencil. Call now to see if you qualify. This revolutionary chip actually mimics the natural sound selection of the human ear. With multi-core microprocessors, technology used in the most advanced computers, sounds are analyzed and classified each millisecond, controlling noise and making speech clear. Do not wait. Call now to see if you qualify to wear this revolutionary new microchip.
I have evidence that proves my dad's a space alien. Speaks a weird language. Drinks green stuff. He says he's from Albuquerque. I'm not buying it. I mean, just look at him. And one more thing. He has a spaceship. The evidence doesn't lie. My dad's an alien.
The highly advanced Audi A6, named to car and drivers 10 best. Experience exceptional value on the Audi A6 at your local dealer today.
Audi Minneapolis. Stop on by, see Charlie in the whole game, drive out in an A4, and you will be set for all seasons in Minnesota. Sydney, people think this is like a cell phone or something. Tell them what this is and what it's done for your life.
Okay, there was a little commercial on earlier, and that's one of many products that Starkey has that can help you. This is supposed to help you if you're going to church. You're supposed to put this thing on
Okay, but where does it help you?
It helps me a lot, but it's primarily you put that on the speaker's table, and it helps you hear what the guy's saying.
Yeah, and that's what that is. People ask about that. Louis, you're going to tell a story before we went to break.
Well, King Clancy, that Sid was talking about it, Harold Ballard's right-hand man. After he got through playing, he was a referee in the National Hockey League. And one night, Montreal was playing Toronto, and it was just like there was nobody checking. So he blew the whistle. He called the captains from both teams over to center ice. He said, "Gentlemen," he said, "go back to your bench and tell your teams, I'm not calling another penalty." He said, "This is really boring." So all hell broke loose after that. They had fight after fight after fight.
He let it go, huh?
He just let it go.
Well, he was up there with that Ballard. He was assistant after Ballard was a big fat guy, and boy, he would scream. In fact, Gordon Gunn used to come to the game and listen to the play-by-play of the radio.
Yeah.
And Gordon
was blind, for those people that don't know.
Gordon Gunn was blind, and the poor guy, he heard me talk. He said, "Will you tell that Ballard to shut up? I can't hear the play-by-play."
That was my most tasteless line I ever wrote.
I've never forgot this one. Explain this one again, because Louis used to score. Go ahead.
Gordon through the press box, and they lost a heartbreaking game. And I said Louis was so rattled that Gordon Gunn was leading him through the press box. That was back when I wrote for this afternoon paper, and you could get anything in you wanted.
What an amazing man he is, boy. I'll tell you something.
Gordon.
For a man who can't see what he can
He was
accomplish.
he's amazing.
He goes on the Mayo every year. I know a couple of doctors that take care of him. They just think he's one of the most amazing people they've ever met.
Hey, they got out of the George long before George died. They got out of the Sharks deal, right?
They got out of the Sharks deal, but Gordon still owned the Cavaliers.
Okay.
And then he finally sold it to the guy from Quicken Loan.
Yeah.
But he kept 15%.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. But none of the Sharks, huh? They
No.
don't. The family doesn't.
George, I think, had 5% of the Sharks at the end, but I don't know what happened to it since he passed
It was
away.
an absolute crime that they tore down that Met Center. I mean, the downtown people wanted to make sure that the Met Center didn't take anything away from the Target Center. And that building, if they just spend $15–20 million on that building cost $6 million to build.
Yeah.
What was the guy's name?
McNulty.
McNulty built that building for $6 million, and if he'd have been living, I think he'd have fought that thing like heck. But they decided to tear it down. It was kind of heartbreaking.
I think the NHL will take the swap they got with the building in St. Paul.
I'll tell you what,
They're
though,
very
these people
happy.
from the Wild generation don't realize what they're missing in the playoffs, because that was the tailgate parking lot. That
yeah.
was perfect
That
for
was
the playoffs.
perfect.
Explain that, Louis.
Well,
Especially a day like today.
Yeah,
I
a day
almost
like
think
today.
I think that's where tailgating started in the NHL, was with the
In the
North
playoffs?
Stars. Yeah, because as you said, that place was fabulous, the tailgate. And they'd come out of there early afternoon. The game would be 8 o'clock at night, and they'd be there by 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and not all of them were sober.
No,
when
believe
the
it or
puck
not.
was dropped.
Well, when we played Chicago, there'd be more fights in the crowd than there were on the ice. One day, literally, they had 30 fights in the stadium when we played.
In the stadium?
In the
In
stadium.
Chicago Stadium?
Not on the ice.
In
the
center.
in the stadium, in the Chicago
Who do
Stadium.
you think, when this thing dust
Chicago
settles,
Stadium.
who will be Minnesota's biggest rival? Winnipeg? Who will it be with the new alignment? Chicago?
Well,
What do you think?
You know, right now Colorado's making a play for it, but I think that it could happen to be St. Louis again. I think,
Really?
yeah, because St. Louis is a very big physical team, and we're going to have a lot of rivalry with them
I
coming
think
up.
it's a Wild.
Winnipeg and Chicago will be good too.
You remember playing an afternoon game at Chicago Stadium
Yeah,
in the playoffs?
yeah.
Old Man Wirtz, you sold that afternoon game, and they had some attraction at night. I never forget Old Man Wirtz, how I got to know pretty good. He says, if this was last year, they had a lousy team, we wouldn't have 2,000 people here. But look at, you sold out that afternoon game at this.
Oh, we had a great rivalry with them.
Yeah, take a break, come back, stay with us. Sports Show.
Go on a free shopping spree anywhere. Where would you go? I'd go to the grocery store. Pizza, ice cream. I'd go shop for clothes. You know where I go? I'd go to Ticket King. Ticket King! At Ticket King, you can buy great seats for the Vikings, Christian Ponder, the Wild, Zach Parise, the Timberwolves, Ricky Rubio, and of course the Twins. We love the Twins. Yep, this is where I go. Vikings, Twins, Wild, Timberwolves, Gophers, theater, and concerts too. Justin Bieber! Hey, I like him first. For details, go to TicketKingOnline.com. Any ticket, anytime, anywhere. It's the real thing. It's Ticket King. Right, Dad?
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
That's for sure.
visibility and the awareness that this particular year brings to the issue of hunger is a dream come true.
The world turns its eyes to one place, and then Taste the NFL stands up and says, and as long as you're looking here, don't forget what else is here.
I hate the fact that little kids go hungry. I hate the fact that even grandmas that can't afford medicine or food, they give up food.
This is a cause that's very near and dear to my heart. It's so relevant, and to actually hear about hunger, we hear about the statistics, but to see it, firsthand, it's a very different thing.
There are a lot of people who are having to decide whether to pay the heat bill or have enough food. And so the need is there. The need is great. And we're people who are well positioned to help meet that need.
Taste the NFL, look it up, help cure hunger, and a whole bunch more anytime. I was talking to somebody that used to do the books for the Twins. We were talking about during the break at Met Stadium. I don't know if you two can be in this conversation because you both ran teams back in this era, but I didn't think about this, Patrick, but they talked about how it was a cash business because people paid for their tickets with cash. And they said you had no idea really how much money teams were making because it was such a cash business. You couldn't trade credit cards or anything like that back in those days.
Well, they sold 1,500 season tickets. There was no season ticket.
Right, so a lot of people came up before checks and credit cards and...
Yeah, well, plus people are whining about the fact there's nobody at the games at Target Field this month. Well, I was at Met Stadium for April games. Yeah. Believe me, 8,000 looks pretty good. You can do about 2,500, and that was what they announced, too.
But, how would you guys organize that, say, at the Laker games when you had all that cash coming in one night? Somebody bring it to the ball?
Took it home.
That's what I was getting at.
Can I get a word in once in a while?
Go ahead.
$2.40 was the cost of the tickets.
Yep.
So they didn't have to have a lot of cash to get in. $1.80 up in the second balcony. And so it's a lot different right now. Television has made sports what it is today. When everybody thought that television would eliminate attendance, instead it's created more interest in the sports, got women interested in the sport who would never be interested whatsoever. I know when we had the Lakers, we didn't want to televise because we thought it hurt the crowds. But now, every Twin game's on television, every Wild game's on television, all the games are on television.
There are occasions when they're not, you go nuts.
People get mad. That Thursday afternoon game wasn't supposed to be on originally. Yep. And then because of the conflict with the Wild, I think it was, because I think maybe they're not going to do a game this week because it's against the Wild or something. But
Twins won today. Well, we were out of time. See you back here next week, everybody. Have a good Easter Sunday evening.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing. And Cuisine Concepts. Franklin Street Bakery at 11th and Franklin in South Minneapolis, just down from Mall of America Field. And Taste of the NFL. Proud to be the premier Super Bowl party with a purpose to support hunger relief locally and nationally.